Welcome back, guys. Gonna do a follow-up video. One of the reasons I had not done a video about automatic trucks and the tanker division was I really was waiting to talk to a tanker driver who had an automatic truck, and I just hadn't run into anybody who had an automatic yet. And so I was kind of hesitant to do it. And so I did the video based on a couple of people asking for a video on automatic trucks in the tanker division. And that video is going to stay up. It's going to be all the things that I was concerned about. And it still is the things that I was concerned about, not knowing a lot about the automatic trucks in the tanker division. And also my thoughts on a lot of those fears. If you go and you watch that video, I talked about a little bit of the fear of the unknown, a little bit of the fear of the changes in technology, and the thought that we've always done it this way, so we're always going to continue to do it this way. And of course, that's just flat out not true. There are very few drivers left. And, there's still guys out there. There's guys that collect classic trucks, and there's guys that insist on driving a 2-stick or a 3-stick. And if you don't know anything about that, look up a video on how you shift a 2 or a 3-stick truck. There's still those guys out there that this is how I've done it, this is how I want to do it. But the fact is, technology changes. There are people that still insist on driving manual transmission automobiles and will say, I never will purchase an automatic. But those are fewer and farther in between. There are more and more of the technology that's featured in this truck. The forward collision detection system, the cruise control that senses the speed, the lane deviation. There's more and more of that that's going into automobiles. That's going to become standard. People would never consider purchasing a car with some of that stuff in the not too distant future. And quite frankly, that's going to be the case in semis as well. We're going to get to that point where a 10-speed, a 13-speed, an 18-speed transmission is going to seem as antiquated as a 2 or a 3-stick transmission. It's just the way the world works. People that don't use computers, how many people do you know that don't use computers or don't use the internet or don't have a smartphone compared to 10, 20 years ago? So at any rate, I didn't want to do the video based on that. And ironically, the very day that I put my first video up, I talked to my first tanker driver who has an automatic. A gentleman who runs dedicated out of Bellevue. If you haven't watched my videos before, I do dedicated out of Decatur. We also have a location in Bellevue, Ohio. So Decatur, Indiana, Bellevue, Ohio are our two spots. I've actually run a couple of loads out of Bellevue this week. And he has a Volvo, which, if you know Prime at all, there are almost no Volvos at Prime. He purchased his own truck. He went to a dealer. He arranged financing on his own. As a matter of course, Prime has primarily Freightliners. In the lightweight division, in the lightweight side, sorry, lightweight is not a division. On the lightweight side, a lot of Freightliners, a few internationals. Actually, there's probably more internationals in Decatur than there are in general in terms of lightweight trucks at Prime. Excuse me. There are a handful of Peterbilts at Prime. There's less than 1,000. Prime just started ordering a new version of Peterbilts. I think it's less than 1,000. Again, there's 7,000 trucks total. And then they did not renew the contract with Kenworth. So there's still a few Kenworth trucks. They're being phased out. I was told at one point there were 2 Kenworth trucks in the tanker division. I don't know if that's still true. So not a lot of Kenworths. And as far as I know, there is this one Volvo that is in the tanker division. So it's a lightweight, but it's only a lightweight because it's been ordered that way. It is a full sleeper. The gentleman ordered it with only one fuel tank. He ordered it with only one drive axle. It has a dead second axle. It actually has a tag front axle for reduced weight. Didn't order some of the body pieces, extra body panels for weight. What else? Some of the interior cabinets. He does similar to me. He lives about 15 minutes from the Bellevue terminal, and he goes home every night, so he doesn't need the full cabinet space. He has extra room in the back, but he took some of the cabinets out for weight purposes. So at any rate, he did want the manual transmission. Eaton Fuller Ultra Shift is the transmission that Tanker Division is using, not the DT12. I think I mentioned it in the previous video. They're having some problems pairing the PTO with the DT12 transmission. So the Eaton Fuller Ultra Shift, and basically I addressed a lot of the questions, the concerns, the surge, the backing, the jerkiness in backing, and bottom line, this guy absolutely loves it. He said there was an adjustment period, but that's I think anytime you switch trucks, you're going to have an adjustment period. But bottom line, he absolutely loves the truck. Doesn't jerk when backing. Hardly recognizes that there's anything in the back as far as surge, unless there's a sudden start or sudden stop. You're never going to get rid of that in a sudden stop situation. But just in terms of taking off, shifting through the gears, that Ultra Shift transmission, obviously it's going to do it quicker than you're able to do it, and is much smoother than he said he is able to do it. So he's very happy with that. Virtually eliminates surge. So 0.1 there, and a 0.2 the automated manual transmission. The second point was backing, and I asked him about, and the place, he actually goes to a place in Walton Hills, Ohio, that has a very, very difficult blindside back. And it's a place where, they've got a dumpster in one spot and some other poles and some other spots that, you don't want to be jerking from here to there and get yourself in trouble and end up in a bad position and tear stuff up. But the bottom line said, this guy said, hey, it just backs smooth as can be right in. You just put it in reverse gear, creeps right in where you want it to go. We have all the control in the world. So was very pleased to hear that. So then I ran into a gentleman who had same thing, the Eaton Fuller Ultra Shift transmission in a Peterbilt vehicle another truck that he owned. But again, they're using that same transmission in the Peterbilts and the Freightliners. I have not heard anything about the Internationals yet, and to be honest with you, I have not seen any 2017 lightweight trucks with Prime. So that's an interesting question as far as this dedicated account. So I don't know what they're planning on putting in the Internationals at this point. But said basically the same thing. Virtually doesn't notice any surge. No problems with backing, whether it was jerking. He said there was actually a software update on his transmission. And when he first had it, it did do a little bit of the jerking when he backed, and now it doesn't at all. So was first of all great to talk to a couple of tanker drivers who have the automated manual transmissions, and great to hear that the two were very happy with them. And the third thing is they both told me I wouldn't go back. I've shifted my last gear. Both of these gentlemen one of them was in his 60s, the other one's not quite that old, but both of them basically felt, listen, there's no reason to go back to a stick shift. These things are great. I want to drive these the rest of my driving days. So I still will reserve final judgment until I drive one myself, but confirmation from two separate drivers that the Eaton Fuller Ultra Shift transmission works in the Tanker Division here at Prime. So I was very pleased to get that report from a couple of different drivers. Hope you enjoyed the update on the automated manuals. Thanks for watching. Click the link in the description if you're looking to come to Prime. You don't have to go then and search and find the application. That'll take you right to an application. If you're looking to come to Prime, you can go ahead and click on that link. That'll be in all my videos going forward. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you again next week.